Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of Paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet with more than 4 million unique users on demand on iTunes and on YouTube, and on my site, GaryBaumgarten.com, where you are encouraged to post your comments whether you agree with yours truly or not. And thanks to our good friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio, we're syndicated across the United States into 12 million additional households. I am your host, Gary Baumgarten, and we welcome those affiliates joining us here at the bottom of the hour. Well, we have a great second portion of the show today. In today's New York Times, a story called "As Economy Dips, Arrests for Shoplifting Soar." The co-author is the Mid-Atlantic Bureau Chief of the New York Times, Ian Urbina, who joins us now on the line from Washington, D.C. And Ian, as you approached this story, you found that the number of shoplifting cases in the USA have increased by 10 to 20% since the economy has faltered. That's a significant increase over last year, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of struck by it. It seems like there are two things going on. One is that the economy has led more people to make bad choices, often in small fashion, but we opened the story with a guy who, for example, was arrested shoplifting because he came up $1 short on a bottle of medicine for $5.99, bottle of medicine, and from the police we talked to, they're encountering more and more examples like that. But the flip side is the other end of the spectrum, which is also an increase in organized crime involvement in shoplifting, and that's, I think, coupled between the economy and also the internet being this sort of huge marketplace that removes the need for a pawn shop or a garage sale or some other way to unload stolen goods. Now you can just put it on eBay or Craigslist.
What I find interesting is one little segment of the story, and that is that there are actually stores that are looking the other way as people shoplift. Why is that?
Well, I mean, the economy is in bad shape, and that affects everyone, including retailers. So what I'd heard from security experts and also a number of associations have done surveys recently, and all of them indicate that stores are desperate for shoppers, and so they're less inclined to aggressively accuse shoplifters for fear that they could end up spooking legitimate shoppers. And furthermore, they've loosened certain stores have loosened certain policies. For example, their return policies. More stores are accepting returns without a receipt, whereas previously you needed a receipt with the item. And thirdly, stores, again, part of the same overall reason, stores are having to cut back on their staff, including their security personnel, which means there are fewer folks to catch the shoplifters. So overall, stores are becoming more vulnerable.
Ian, as I researched for today's show, I found that yours is not the only article about the increase in shoplifting. It's not just here in the United States, it's elsewhere around the world. There are indications that there are more and more people who have been, up until now, law-abiding. And then, of course, there are the cases of people who are well-known individuals, like athletes, who for some reason go out and shoplift. I think there might be a psychological issue there that's a little bit different from the main point of your article. But I got to tell you, to think that the percentages have climbed in 365 days by as much as 20% is pretty shocking indeed. Let's go to our first caller. Rachel is joining us from Louisiana. Rachel, welcome to News Talk Online on Paltalk.com.
Okay, thank you, Gary, and very nice to meet you, Ian. And I wanted to say, I wonder what it is that the people are shoplifting. I mean, if it's merchandise like, luxury, like jewelry, like whatever that's not necessary, well, and then that might be one thing. If it's something that maybe they need to survive, then that might be another issue. But Gary, can I quickly make a comment about the health care reform? Would that be okay? I know that was the first part of the
Very
show.
quickly, though.
Okay, I'll make it really quick. I was concerned about it because when they say that they were going to streamline the existing healthcare systems and cutting ineffective programs, all of these things really concern me a lot. Ramping up preventive initiatives and all that was Obama's platform. When it comes to the healthcare reform, this goes a long way with me because I see it as you can't go backwards. If someone's already got a pre-existing illness, you can't go backwards. Thank you, Gary, for allowing me to say that. And as far as your guests, Ian, can you please tell me what are they shoplifting the most? Is there any research on that? And thank you.
Well, what I heard was that there are no clear patterns in the things that are being shoplifted. So the increase has not corresponded with an increase in specific things being taken. There are certain things that, the other factor we haven't mentioned is that the holiday season, November and December specifically, are always the months, for obvious reasons. I think 20% of all annual shopping, or 30%, occurs in those months, and this is sort of the prime shopping time, and people are, so more shoplifting always occurs in these months. But there are, what I was hearing is that they span the gamut. So, the first-time shoplifters are more often stealing what you might call sort of necessary or primary goods, if I can coin a phrase. So, medicine or baby formula or baby powder or gloves.